The essay. The essay seems to include a large part of the score. When we take a look at 30% of your overall score, that seems like a lot. But the truth of the matter is that 30% here is a little misleading. Because our students are going to be writing in English to begin with, and because we expect them to write in full sentences, we don't expect students to get zeros on the essay. In truth, the national average is somewhere between a 7 and an 8, and that's going to be a score out of 12. So even if students aren't great writers, they're already going to account for a strong number of points simply by writing a standard 4-paragraph essay in English in full sentences. So what's important about this is they should not freak out. It's very difficult to get a 0 on the essay because that's only if you write off topic. What they're going to be able to do is write something reasonable in English and attract a number of points. Let's talk about the general points and how the scoring itself works out. You get 2 scores from 1 to 6 from 2 individual readers. That means that the lowest that you would get is a 2, a score of a 1 and a 1 from 2 separate readers. And the highest that you could get would be a 6 and a 6, a 12. Anything off topic, as I said, is a 0. Generally speaking, our students are going to be writing somewhere around the middle of the road to get started. A 6, perhaps, a 3 and a 3, a 7, perhaps, a 3 and a 4. For those of you who are wondering why we might have 2 different scores, say a 3 and a 4, is because the readers individually score it. Sometimes there is some difference between one reader's score and another. If 2 readers diverge by more than a point, let's say a 3 and a 5, a third reader comes in as the arbitrator and decides on one score or the other. How did the scores actually get configured? What exactly are they looking for? When we talk about what they're looking for, the first thing I'd like to highlight is development. This is how well do you make your point? Do your examples actually fit with the point that you're making? Do you effectively explain your examples? The development part and what we call organization, these two make up the can you make a convincing argument aspect of the test. Really the substance, not the style. But can you actually select good examples and then organize them to make a point? The second part of the scoring is really the style of the English language that you use to prove your point. If 1 and 2 make up the substance, part 2 is, do you speak English? Now, for some of our students who might have weaker English skills, for instance, they're an ELL student, what we're saying is that you don't need to speak at a high level of English. You don't have to be dropping in the word vituperation every time we turn around. But we are saying that if you're going to apply to American schools, American universities, and they're looking for you to be able to write in English, we're talking a certain level of sophistication where sentences have subjects and verbs. We're not talking about everything being a 3-letter word. So when we say, do you speak English, this isn't meant to say that you need to necessarily be penning the next sonnet like Shakespeare. What it means is, can you construct sentences in standard written English? When we talk about the language, do you use baby words or grown-up words? You don't have to be using 12-syllable words to make sure that you use moreover as opposed to other stuff proves my point too. When we talk about different sentence styles, we don't need to have every sentence be 5 words. I like cats. Cats are great. You should like cats too. What we're saying is, can you come up with a variety of different sentence styles? Can you have some longer sentences and some shorter sentences? Can you actually put in some clauses? Can you, say, use a semicolon? The style part, the do you speak English, also folds in the rules of grammar. Because this is a grammar test, we need to try and ensure that students don't make errors. Do your subjects agree with your verbs? Do your modifiers dangle? When we talk about the essay, since that's really the culmination of all of the different lessons that students have learned, subject-verb agreement, run-on sentences, they are actually testing rules of English grammar. Often students wonder whether or not they will lose points for, say, spelling mistakes. In truth, as long as it's not a preponderance of spelling mistakes that's overwhelming, like every other word is spelled wrong, we shouldn't have a problem. As long as what we're trying to do is write as well as possible in the 25 minutes, the scorers understand there are going to be small little mistakes here and there.